on the official Celtic FC Podcast. Boxing world champion Anthony Cacace speaks about his incredible career, winning the world title and how it feels to be the two-belt super-featherweight champion of the world.
It's just super proud and grateful as soon as that fight. That's kind of the words that I've used most.
Hello and welcome to the official Celtic FC Podcast. This is the official podcast of the champions, and never has that description been more accurate than for today's episode, because today I'm joined by the IBF and IBO super featherweight champion of the world from Andytown, Belfast, Anthony Cacace. Anthony, it's brilliant to have you here, mate. How are you?
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invite. I'm great, mate. I'm great. How are you?
Brilliant. I'm absolutely delighted to be sitting there and getting a chat with you. I mean, what's life been like since becoming a world champ?
Mate, it's been insane. It's been insane. Just everything's turned upside down. You know, I was used to kind of doing everything my way. You know, went out to Saudi fighting the golden boy, put on a good performance, and you know now I'm in a great position. Yeah. 35 years of age, and people retired at this age, and I'm only getting started.
It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, we'll talk obviously about the journey to becoming the champion, to reaching the pinnacle of the sport. You're over here, you're in Glasgow just now. You fought a few weeks back at Wembley. It's been a bit of a whirlwind for you, but it's wonderful your family's here with you. Yeah. You're going to be out on the pitch for the game against Aberdeen. Yeah. How does it even feel to be here as a Celtic supporter?
But honestly, it's mind-blowing. If you'd have seen me a year ago and you know what my life was like a year ago, and you know now you're getting, you know, I'm sitting in Celtic Park doing a podcast. You know, it feels amazing, mate. It feels these are all like, it feels real dreamy. Yeah. Again, mate, thank you all for inviting me out here. It's unbelievable. It's
absolutely our pleasure. For me, when I've been watching you, you know, your fights over the last few years, and hearing you speak and reading interviews, would I be right in saying that for you, obviously the fame and fortune of being world champion's one thing, but I get the feeling that this means something even more to you because it's history. You're the first Irish super featherweight world champion. That legacy, that almost, it seems to me anyway, that means more to you than the fame and fortune that comes with it.
It's really nothing to do with the fame and fortune, especially the fame. You know, I'm kind of just one of that. I'm happy to like blend in the crowd. You know, I don't want to stick out or nothing like that. But it's nice that they earn a few quid and whatever else. But I've worked 26 years at this game, and it's not been easy. It's had its highs and its lows, but I feel like I'm very grateful to have fulfilled my potential. Do you know what I mean? I knew I could have done this a couple of years back, and it's not bumming myself up too much. I mean, I felt like I had the tools to become a world champion, and you know, it's magic. It's unreal.
It's absolutely incredible. It's a wonderful achievement. Obviously, we're recording this the day before the Aberdeen game here at Celtic Park. You're going to be, like I say, out there on the pitch tomorrow. You'll have the belts, the world title belts, with you at that point as well. How excited are you about that, about going out in that park?
To be honest, man, I'm more nervous about that than me. I would rather go out and fight 3 or 4 men in a row than go out on that pitch. But no, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, you know, to come over here and to do this, especially with a big game, first and second playing, you know. So I'm a bit nervous and excited at the same time.
I think it'll be brilliant. I think it'll be great. Your boy, your son's a big football fan. We've been speaking to him. Yeah. We'll keep it quiet that he said he's a Manchester City fan as well, but he's obviously Celtic daft. Yeah. It'll be brilliant for him to see his dad out there in that park with those belts.
Mate, he hasn't stopped. He has not stopped talking about it. This has been on now. This has been going on months we've been speaking. Yeah. And as soon as I told him about it, he's straight into school, told all his friends, and it's been like 3 or 4 times a week. He said, "When am I going over to Celtic Park? When am I going over? When are we doing this?" You're like, you know, he's buzzing. To me, man, it makes me feel proud as well. It's like, for not only did I do well in the boxing, but to be able to bring in places like this and to give them these experiences. Like, these are the type of things that, you know, that stick with you for life. Yeah. So I'm just very grateful.
No, absolutely. And well, that brings us on. I guess we're going to chat about the career, but we'll take it right back to almost the start. We're talking about family here because, again, everything that I've been reading and hearing people saying about you is that you're a humble man a family man as well. Family's sort of central to everything that you do. Looking at your story, obviously you're an Irishman, but as well as that, you've got proud Italian heritage as well from your dad's side. The story of your mum and dad and how they met is fantastic. You know, over in Sorrento.
That's right, yeah.
Growing up, what was it like having that mix of cultures of growing up in Belfast as an Irishman but having the Italian influence as well?
I grew up in West Belfast, Andersonstown, you know. I don't know, man. You got that wee bit, you know, me and the brother used to get called Mario and Luigi, and, you know, we used to get tortured, but it was different, to say the least. But no one really made you feel too bad about, you know what I mean, about it. But the odd pizza jokes and spaghetti bolognese jokes, but that's about it, you know. It's the Italian heritage through my family is we don't really see that side of the family too often, so it's like every time we get the same, you know, it's special, and you're going over to Naples and you're having a good time, so it's nice, you know. It's nice to be a bit of Irish and the Italian.
You've got support everywhere.
I've got it everywhere.
Support, you know, over in Italy, obviously.
That's
Reading about your dad, it was interesting to me because I was reading that your dad obviously was a champion athlete as a young man in Italy, a Italian running champion.
Yeah.
Do you think that you've inherited that? Because you as a fighter, you know, you've got an engine, you've got the stamina to last the distance, the power to put other fighters away. So you've got that heart, the desire, the resolve to get through it. Do you think you've inherited that a wee bit from your dad?
100%. If you look at my dad's physique and me, we look like even now, and he's in his 60s. He's in great shape. Do you know what I mean? He's always just must be the Italian in him. Do you know what I mean? But he run for his wee town, and I think he done very well on the running. So no one else in the family fights, so I could just put it down that I'm the hardest man in the family. Like, you know what I mean?
You're a world champion and the family champion as well. Brilliant.
That's it.
What's it like when you're fighting? Does your mum and dad go to the fights? Do they watch you fighting? Or?
My mum wouldn't. She's usually nice. She would have went down to the likes of the All Ireland Championships in Dublin, but she would have went into the toilet and spent the fight in the toilet. You know, with her hands on her head, nervous. But my dad, now I've started taking him away with me to these big events and all. And he was in Wembley there, and he's been everywhere. All he does is make me nervous. He's sitting, everyone in the room, you know, and I look over at my dad, and he's sitting there, you know, looking at me, nodding at me. You're right. He makes me feel worse. Do you know what I mean? But it's good. It's good to have him about and part of the team.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. I've loved seeing obviously you then progress up to become a world champion, but also just seeing how much it means to everyone round about you. You seem like you've got a really close knit team. We'll talk about the actual coaching team and your gym and stuff like that, but just still in the family side of things, how big a motivation have they been throughout your career? I don't even mean in recent years, but like you as a young boxer, the amateur game's hard, breaking into the pro game's obviously really difficult. Was it them pushing you that kept you going?
To be honest, boxing, you've done a bit of boxing when you were younger, you kind of know what it takes to do it. You know, it's a full-time job, even as an amateur. So back when I was just coming up, and I was starting out in the plastering by trade, my mum and dad made me stick to the boxing. Do you know what I mean? I have them to thank for the position I'm in now, because I could have walked away 100 times. You know what I mean? I had my eldest daughter at 18, so in the round there, and I was more interested in going and get a job and go out of the weekends and enjoy life. But it's like they always kept me grounded and pushed me in the right direction. Yeah,
and it's obviously such an important part of any successful career is to have that sort of support behind you.
Oh, that's it.
How did it start then? How did you get in amongst the sport?
Well, we lived at Andersonstown, I'm not too sure if you know it, and there's a wee pub called the PD. I live facing it, and right beside it there's a wee gym called Oliver Plunkett Boxing Club. So it was literally a stone throw from the house. So I used to just go over, punch a bag. I used to be, as a wee kid, wearing jeans and whatever else. And the coach, Patsy McAllister, seen something in me, and and took me under his wing. Patsy and Otto Taylor, they looked after me for years. From then, first championship they brought me to, I went down and I won them. Second one, I went down, and first year boxing, I was the All Ireland champion. And then I kind of realised I a bit of, talent, potential, so just kept at it.
Brilliant. I mean, was that I was going to ask then, when did you start to get the sort of bug in terms of feeling I could do this? But it sounds as if it was early on. You realised
it was pretty much from the get go. Back in them days, it wasn't really like the All Irelands were very hard to win, and I just joined boxing and I'd won them already. So, and then after that, I went on 7 consecutive titles in a row. So, I knew I had the talent, and I played the football back then as well. I played for Celtic boys.
That's right, yeah.
They're an Andytown club as well. So I was kind of like having to make that decision. What will I do? Will I continue with the football or boxing? Because boxing, it takes a lot to be a boxer. So I had to say goodbye to the football and concentrate solely on the boxing.
Were you any good at football?
I was unbelievable. No, it was all right. It was all right. My dad and I used to play a bit of football. I have 2 brothers. They were great footballers too. But we all played a bit of the Gaelic and the hurling, and we've done it all.
Yeah. Well, how long did you... Obviously, you started at Oliver Plunkett's gym.
Yeah.
That's obviously the first gym. That's where you...
That was the first one.
As an amateur.
Yeah.
I know that you're not still boxing there now or anything like that, but like, at what point did you make the sort of step up as it was?
It was... I left Oliver Plunkett, say, in around the second year senior, 17, 18, and I joined Holy Trinity Club. Mickey Hawkins, young Michael Jr. And again, I was in around that time where I was saying I had my daughter and whatever else, so I kind of was half in and half out of boxing. And yeah, mate, it's just they took me to the next level, and always helped me out, and I'm back with them now in the pros.
It's been a sensational journey, obviously, with, like you're talking about, Michael Hawkins senior and junior being in amongst it. Talk to me about that team that you've got just now, though, because looking at it, it's if a football team wins something, there's this collective enjoyment, big celebration, supporters, a full team. It's wonderful. In boxing, obviously, it being a sort of solo venture, and as much as you need to go in there for 12 rounds, you need to do it yourself, but it doesn't feel like that. When I look at you and the team, it feels like a real unit, and it feels like everybody's won the world champion or the world title. Sorry,
100%. I mean, they all live it with me. Like, I mean, I would leave the family and go into training camp, so I'd be away from everyone. They live every moment with me. They're in the gym in the mornings or gym at night. If they call up and see me after the gym, talk me through things. They're a massive part. It's like they're in there with me basically every step of the way. Have we Barry O'Neill and Mickey Hawkins Senior, Michael Hawkins Junior. They've all got their own wee jobs. Have we Rory Dalton? I've got every single base covered. They have my water. He's giving me my water. He's wiping my head. They all want to see me do well, and for the right reasons. And we're a very close team, and it's like a bunch of mates who have just won a world title together, and that's how it is. It's like Mickey Hawkins, obviously senior, he's a 2-time Olympic coach, but the rest of us are all just learning on the game, and look where we are.
It must be brilliant for them as well to be part of this, and we'll obviously talk about winning the actual titles themselves and those that night and everything, but just in terms of that close-knit collective unit around you, you were saying on the way up here as well, every single one of them is a Celtic supporter, so I'm sure they'll be envious of you this weekend.
Every single person I know is a Celtic supporter. No, everyone's jealous that I'm here, but they're not the champ. So it's one of them things. But I'm just very grateful to have all the boys around me and to be helping me out. They're all playing their roles unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, so let's get into the sort of career then, because you've had a fantastic pro career so far. You're at 23 wins, 1 defeat, which we'll talk about. I mean, in terms of a setback, really looking through your fighting record, every one of those fights will have its own challenges, and the training camps that for me and everybody else who's listening and watching has probably never been through. But just the standout thing, you think, okay, the 1 defeat, how big a setback was that for you personally? Not
really. I think I kind of needed that at that time. I was stuck in my head thinking that I would outbox these lads, really. With that transition from amateur to pro, I still hadn't get used to, this is a hurt game. These boys want to get me and they want to fight with me. I was in trying to box them, Martin Ward was the guy who beat me, and I thought I outboxed him handy enough, but we're in the pros, talking about he was coming forward, he was looking more aggressive, but didn't do as much. Do you know what I mean? All it did for me was make me realise what not to do.
Yeah.
So from that fight, I've tried just everything that I've done for that, and to try and stay away from it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's 12-round fights. There's going to come a stage in the fight where you're going to have to go to war. I'm going to have to get used to doing different wee things, and I've got used to it. That defeat kind of helped me and brought me on a wee bit.
How do you go about then applying those things that you're talking about? Like, how much work goes in then in the gym to say, right, that didn't work, you need to change you need to change an approach? Like, how difficult is that for an athlete?
Well, it's changing things up altogether. It's like in the amateurs, you're moving around the ring and you're more, hit in and out. Whereas just kind of more on a heavy bag and doing a lot more heavy work, heavier shots, planting the feet, and just done a lot more of that there type of thing. And fitness has come on. I'm easy to. I could do 12 rounds any day. Do you know what I mean? So they're the things that I would have learned from that.
That what you're talking about, the 12 rounds, is interesting to me, because I read a quote from Michael Hawkins Senior, which I found just was so accurate, but kind of sums up the grueling nature of the training, because Michael Hawkins Senior has said that all the work is done in the gym and on the roads, and if you're in shape, anything's possible. We're talking about that engine that you inherited from your dad, but how much work are you having to put in to have the stamina to go 12 rounds of boxing at that level in the game?
Well, I'll describe it in what my training camp would be like. So, 10 to 12 weeks of twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. You're having 1 day off a week. Intense sprints, lots of sparring, swimming, the S&C. It's very, very intense. After a training camp and a fight, I haven't got my holiday yet, but like I need a proper break. Do you know what I mean? And more, not just physically, but mentally as well, because it's not just a physical side; it's a mental side. There's things going on in the background. What you would, in boxing is kind of what you see is just. It's the glamorous bit, but behind, there's negotiations, there's getting let down, there's a lot of gangsters in the sport. You're having to deal with that type of thing, so it's one of them things,
I suppose that's the benefit of having such a good team around you as well, to try and keep.
Well, that's it. Like Mickey Hawkins Senior, he's very experienced. He had Damien Kelly, he worked Brian McGee, he's done all these corners, so he has that bit of experience that I didn't. So that's another reason. So
you're just talking about the journey then. Looking through your fighting record, there's been times through the career where it looks like, maybe there's been a year and a half or 2 years, maybe even without a fight at times, which I know that there's been quite a lot made of that. Like, just sometimes the fights weren't there, or people weren't wanting to go in the ring against you. So how difficult is that, though, as a fighter? You hear that expression, ring rust, of going in and not having fought recently.
Yeah.
Like, how do you overcome that?
It's difficult. It's certainly difficult. A lot, I'd say, so I have 20, 23, 24 fights now. If things would have worked out how they should have, and the fights that I've trained for and put in full camps and spent money on, I should have 40 fights. Like, it's not a joke. Do you know what I mean? I've done them 6 weeks, 8 weeks before, and the fights have just got called off. It's a business at the end of the day, and people need paid, and journeymen, the boys that are coming over that you're fighting, they all need paid, it's a couple of grand a head, and it's an expensive sport, do you know what I mean? But a very rewarding one if you get the world title contention,
Is there a part of you that, because obviously you're 24 fights, 23-1, you're the world champion, so everything's kind of worked, ultimately it's all worked out in the end, but is there a part of you that then is almost a little bit grateful in a way, or not grateful, but thankful that you're not sitting here having fought 40, 45 fights, because the punishment that would have come with that, and the difficulties in, like, so is there a positive to take from that as well?
It is. It's more of a positive, because again, since I'm turning 36 in February, I'm fresh. I'm fresh. I mean, the last couple of fights, Warrington was a bit of a tough fight. The Cordina was handy enough. I've had Warrington and Bowen, my 2 hardest fights in my career. And apart from that, mate, I'm fresh.
Yeah.
You know, I keep going for a couple of years at least.
Brilliant, that's good to hear. And by the way, you could end up getting a job doing this because you've linked me in perfectly to the next bit, because let's talk about that fight against Sam Bowen, because that was the fight when you won the British title.
Yeah.
So it seems like the first real big... I mean, I know obviously every victory's great, and I'm not trying to downplay other wins in the career, but...
That was one of my best wins of my life.
That point, to come away with the belt, what was that like? Just talk us through it.
It was unbelievable at that stage of my life. That's when I won that British title, that's when I realised things are going to start happening for me. Do you know, getting into that fight with Sam was, I think he was 15-0, 13 knockouts. Everyone was talking about him, how he was this big killer, and he was a heavy-handed, you know, and he wanted that win. But there was something different with that one with me, because I spent 8 weeks in a flat and tortured myself. You know, at that stage, 2 children. I need to make money. I wasn't making money, you know. So, and then, say the last couple of weeks, Sam was going to have to kill me. And I mean, not from the bottom of my heart, like, it was just, I wasn't losing that fight, do you know what I mean? And I was going to go till the death, and that's kind of what I've adapted to most fights now. It's just that if I'm going to go out here, I'm going to go out on my back, do you know what I mean? And that's it. So fight to the end, and that's it, you know.
And do you think that...
I think that brings an extra couple of % out of you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you go in with a mind frame, but you're gonna get hurt. You know, you're gonna. It's a bit of a weak mind frame for me. The way I am, anyway. I go in with that I'm gonna get hurt, and it's definitely gonna happen. But I'm there to the end. Do you know what I mean? So prepare myself for it.
I find that a fascinating mindset.
It's a head melt. Like, you know, I tell people about this, and they look at me like I'm a lunatic. You know what I mean? I'm a bit of a lunatic, like, but
Brian behind the camera there's shrinking away. You know what I mean? He's just trying to make sure you're
that
looking good.
Nutcase.
But it is a fascinating thing of, like, you know, it's like the whole psychology of sport, but boxing being such a unique sport, to have that knowledge that accepting that there will be punishment that you're going to have to accept, but then ultimately to walk away with the belt. I find that interesting that was the night that you thought, this is it, this is going to happen.
That was it. I mean, if I would have lost that, it was definitely over. Yeah. That was it, finished. There was no more career. So that was all my eggs in the one basket, and let's go.
Well, thankfully that didn't happen. So you've got the British title at that point. Again, like we're saying, there was a few years there, between 2019 and 2021, there wasn't any...
COVID.
True, right enough.
So I just won the title in November, 30th of November. December, COVID. Started on the January, early February, COVID. And then that was it for 2 years, so I couldn't defend it. I was supposed to box, you know, the behind closed doors kind of thing, what they were doing. And then my opponent got COVID, I'd got COVID, so it was like passing COVID from it, you know what I mean? So
were you still able to train and stuff like that through that time?
Oh, I've done wee bits and pieces, like, but nothing like what we were doing on the ordinary day. Yeah,
well, things start to obviously really shift up a gear in 2022. You beat Michael Magnesi to win the IBO super-featherweight title. So for anybody who's obviously listening to this and isn't maybe as into the sport as like yourself, I'm a big boxing fan as well, there are a whole different host of belts that you can win: WBO, WBA, WBC, IBF and IBO. So you won the IBO title against Michael Magnesi. You're a world champion at that point.
IBO would be kind of the less of the bunch, you know. Like it's kind of like a step towards a world title, you know. It gets you a seat at the table. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's not one of the big ones, but it's my favourite one. Do you know what I mean? It's my favourite one. It's the one that I defended against Josh Warrington. Do you know what I mean? It's one that started it all, really. Yeah.
Because I was going to ask about that, because obviously there's been so much made about the IBF title. I was kind of wondering about the IBO, but now that you're explaining it, it's not maybe considered as one of the big four in terms of boxing organisations. But winning that, though, you win it in Manchester. What was that? What was that like? You know, because that's world level at that point.
Extraordinary. At that stage, I was training down in Carrickfergus. I was staying in a caravan, wee Bernie's caravan. I mean, I was just begging for that break, and that was the break. You know, 21-0. He was well ranked. He's the IBO champion. Another one where I adapted that attitude and went for it. I was staying in a wee caravan in a front garden, just not too far from the sea, Carrickfergus. It was another one where I roughed and toughed and got it done.
That's almost like a self-inflicted sort of prison sentence.
In a wee bit of a way, it's a punishment.
With a nice view, obviously.
With a nice view, but at the same time, but I think it's kind of what you need in this sport.
Was that just your own initiative to say, I'm going to take myself away and lock myself into the training camp?
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, at that stage, I didn't have the money where I could go, right, I'll go to Spain. I'll go down the road kind of thing, do you know what I mean? I'll go down the road, lock myself away, and punish myself, just get myself into the correct mind frame that I would have needed to get in the fight.
And obviously, you come away that night with the belt. But let's talk about the big one and the title win, which has really taken your career stratospheric. And that was earlier this year in May when you fought against Joe Cordina out in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. You won the fight, TKO, in the 8th round. I think you were going into that fight, probably fair to say,
massive underdog.
But by winning that fight, you become the IBF super-featherweight champion of the world. I mean, just first of all, what's it like preparing for a fight of that magnitude? Does everything step up a level of intensity?
No. For that fight, personally, everything just seemed to click right at the right time. I was settled in myself. I was calm, cool, collected. I felt it too. It wasn't like it was just. I felt good. The whole thing about the whole camp just went smooth. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of meant to be. Like it was written in the stars. Like even sitting out and like I would get nervous in front of cameras and whatever else. So I'm dead on. Like chatting away. But when there's cameras not around, I'd be that shy type. I was taking it all in my stride and just loving life. I kind of felt like it was meant to be. It really did.
Yeah. Were you in a caravan in Carrickfergus for that build up?
No. I rented a house for that one.
Oh, nice.
I rented a house for that one, and I mean, I couldn't stay at home and train with the kids and all. And they're getting sick and they're in school and you'd be stressed out. You're training twice, two, 3 times a day, and you're getting asked to go do a shop and get asked to do this kind of thing. You're like, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So I just rather take myself out of that life and put myself into.
How tough is that? Because obviously you've got a brilliant wee family. They're here at Celtic Park. They're here in Glasgow for the weekend.
Oh, no.
Everybody's buzzing. They're right there with you. Everybody seems really close, and it's brilliant to see. So how difficult is that then for you to then have to take yourself away from that for a long period of time?
It's difficult. It is difficult, but I know that the end goal. I always know what the end goal is, and I know what I want. I've got what I want now. Do you know what I mean? So everything from here really is a bonus. But it's difficult. But I know it needs to be done. Yeah,
I mean that's obviously the pinnacle of the sport is to win the title. You done it that night. I was watching some of the behind the scenes footage from that night. Pre-fight, you were in the trunks, in the boots, and your gloves seemed really early because you were just raring to go and get out there and fight. Yeah. Am I right in saying Carol Frampton came into the dressing room as well?
He did. He did.
Just what was that all like?
I made the boys. It says you'll be all right. 2 hours, we'll get there before. I says 3.5 hours. We need to be here early. As soon as I got there, I'm not one for kind of like lying, relaxing and sleeping. I'd be pumped up and ready to go. So straight into the shorts, straight into the boots, and that was me shadow boxing and keeping warm. I was ready to kill dead things. Do you know what I mean? I was just biggest opportunity. Usyk, Fury.
Yeah.
In front of the Saudi group. Fine well, winner stays on. So
yeah.
Again, I went in with that attitude, kill or be killed, and that's.
It's excellent. Like you say, it's a Fury Usyk undercard that you were fighting on. It's a massive night over in Saudi Arabia. Before we even go back to the fight, the sort of Saudi thing in boxing has really started to gather pace over the last couple of years. What's it like going over there and being involved in one of those events?
Unbelievable. I was telling the guy on the way over on the plane just what it was like. It was like treated like royalty from the minute I landed to the minute I left. Flew me over first class, bring me up. I had basically like a penthouse suite in this hotel. Like it had everything. It had its own office and all. Do you know what I mean? And it was just amazing. It was an experience kind of that I'll probably not experience again unless I get on another one of them shows. Yeah. It was fascinating.
It's there's a lot of, or I hear a lot of criticism coming from within the boxing world and boxing circles, where people comment on the atmosphere at these events being lacking. It's a bit quiet. There's not that intensity that you would get at, say, York Hall or Wembley Arena or something like that. From the fighter's point of view, though, does that even enter into it? Are you noticing things like that when you're in there?
No, I noticed that night. You could hear every punch that landed, but I think that comes down to Saudis not serving alcohol, and kind of everyone's just sitting doing their thing. There's no bars, there's no nothing like that. They come to watch the boxing and they go home. So I do genuinely think it's down to that. Like, I mean, if they run a Saudi show in England, it's buzzing. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's got to do with Saudi, that type of thing. But it was weird, Even when he lands a shot, you can even hear it coming hitting you, do you know what I mean? And you're like, it was a strange wee thing, but at the same time, it didn't really bother me.
Nah, well, I wouldn't have bothered you anyway afterwards, because of course you walk out that night as the world champion. You stopped Cordina. It was a brilliant performance. We said you were the underdog. Yeah. Did you like that? Did you like going in sort of unfancied?
Loved it. No pressure on me whatsoever. Even from around the estate, my mum, my dad, and my dad's usually on me. Tell me you can do it. No, even when I'm negative, he's always pushing me. I mean, everyone kind of had it in their hand. This guy's he's in for it here. This is a hard fight. It made me feel just, I'm gonna do him. You know what I mean? This is it. You just made it easier on me.
Yeah. No, it's amazing how things like that can sort of obviously spur you on. Yeah. Being the underdog. What was the atmosphere like in that dressing room when you get off or came out of the ring?
We were singing, dancing, jumping all over the show. It was amazing. The only that again. That's kind of that whole time was probably one of the best times in my life.
Yeah.
Everything about it. How I felt inside. The achievement. Winning the IBF world title. I've just bought my family a home. I can go and buy them a home. Before I didn't have a house or anything. Now I've done that. It's just super proud and grateful as soon as that fight. That's kind of the words that I've used most, because it's how I feel, mate. I just feel like sitting here in Celtic Park, it blows my mind. I'll go home later on and sit me on and think about this and, wreck my head. You know what I mean? It's amazing. It's amazing, and grateful's the key word, I would say, man.
I love it, and it's such a tremendous achievement. What was it like going up the road then, back to Andytown, back to Andersonstown?
It's delightful. Turned up in the estate, and they were trying to get me to come in an open top bus. My cringe reflex wouldn't let me. I was like, get that bus away, I'm not coming down. But I went down, and there was about over 1,000 people in my street, and they were all there to see me. And listen. It's very overwhelming. It was an experience, to say the least. It's
totally well deserved. I mean, it's a small town, and it's produced obviously a world champ. You've got a mural and everything.
I have a mural in my mass street too now as well. So I've hit when you get a mural, you've hit the big time. Do you know what I mean? So I've hit the big time around
You're up there with Dairy Girls and stuff like that with the murals here.
It's unreal, mate.
It's fantastic. Unreal. Obviously, that fight comes and goes. I say comes and goes. I mean, it's a pretty big moment. But later on, or a few months later, just in September 2024, you're back on the big stage again. It's another Saudi show. It's another Riyadh season show, but this time it's at Wembley. Yeah. You're on the Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois undercard, fighting against Josh Warrington, who is a massive name in the sport. Was that a bit different because what exactly was on the line in that fight?
It was the IBO.
Right.
There was problems with the IBF because in order to fight for the IBF title, you have to be coming off a win. Josh didn't go and get that win.
Right.
Don't know why or the reason behind it, but so the IBO was on the line that night. I mean, Josh Warrington's 2-time world champion. He's got three wins over Irish fighters. I'm the only Irish fighter to beat him.
Right, yeah.
So that was a massive fight. That's a bigger fight than Cordina, really. Like when you think about it, you know what I mean. I mean, he's a household name, and to go in there, and I watched it back. I thought I controlled it very, very. Watching it back, I did. Now when I was in there, I was a wee bit tougher, but watched it back, I thought I controlled it handy. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Yeah.
And if I can do that in second gear, at this age. You never know. You never know what I can do.
There's a lot in the build up to that as well. I heard people. I found one of your responses quite interesting. A journalist who said to you that was asking you about, do you think he's kind of like past it and whatever? And you turned around and said, "I'm older than him.
Yeah.
I'm older than him."
Yeah,
so how can you sit there and say that?
Yeah, well, they in fairness to me, he's had a lot of wars and had a lot of tough fights, but I am older than him. Do you know what I mean? I've been around this game just as long as him, but he's had a couple of hard years. He's made his money. He's got his titles.
Yeah.
Go out and enjoy your life with your family. You know what I mean? Life's complete.
Because he couldn't get by you, that's for sure. That was
That's
absolutely. I'm not just saying it because of here, obviously. And but
I would have loved to knock them out though. Like, you know what I mean? I feel I let a few people down. People come up to me out there from round at home as well. I had you on an accumulator. Oh no, man, no! Stop gambling.
It was a brilliant win. You win it on points. Totally unanimous decision. That was an amazing show that they put on that night, to be fair, because obviously you've got Anthony Joshua, who ends up getting knocked out by Daniel Dubois at the top of the bill, but Liam Gallagher was performing and stuff like that. What was that atmosphere like in there?
It was crazy. It was crazy. The whole stadium was just... Conor McGregor was just walking past you, and all these proper like celebrities just dancing straight past you. It was mind-blowing. But it was a good night. The Saudis don't hold back. Do you know what I mean? Everything's luxury and top class. All week they had, I would say you get to do your training in the morning and you were away for 1 o'clock till 9 o'clock at night. Every night it was just so busy. Yeah. And the Saudis, they expect to do a lot of media and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But no one does it like the Saudis do.
Yeah, well, I mean, the shows that they've been putting on have been unbelievable, and you're doing incredibly well on the shows. It's got to be said as well, because that's you. You've won both of those bouts. So, but sitting here right now, you're a 2-belt champion of the world, but I'm getting the feeling that it doesn't end there for you. There's more. You've got more to go.
No, I've plenty more to go. Looking maybe towards February for Saudi again, and Lee Wood, or I've got my mandatory Sugar Nunes, a hard fight. It doesn't matter what happens from here, again, man, this is a bonus. This is all a bonus. Yeah. When I got my hand lifted for the IBF, life complete. Now it's to try and secure my family's future and get that few quid and maybe leave boxing better off. Absolutely.
It's absolutely brilliant. You've an incredible journey that's resulted in you reaching the absolute and making history as well.
Not history maker. No Irish fighters ever won the world title at super feather, so no one's ever going to be able to take that away from me. Anthony Cacace, that name will be in them books, and the more things go on and the more you kind of get used to the money side of things and whatever else, that's what matters too. That wee bit of legacy, and they get maybe another nice 1 or 2 big fights and end it on a high.
Well, hopefully we'll get you back in after those as well and
talk about those wins. That's it.
Before we round up, obviously we're sitting here today at Celtic Park. It's going to be excellent, this game tomorrow. Yeah. Well, by the time this comes out, the game will have been done. But just when you walk out on that pitch tomorrow and you look round and see the family sitting in the stand, you've got the belts. Yeah. What's that going to be? Is that just going to be like another cherry on top of the cake?
It's going to be another one of these experiences that just money can't buy kind of thing. It's like once in a lifetime opportunities. I mean, I grew up Celtic supporter my whole life. Everyone around me supports Celtic. Man, it's dreamy. It is. It's dreamy to be sitting in this room and looking out like that. It's insane. And my wee lad, he's been super excited, buzzing about it. So it's gonna be amazing.
Brilliant. And I hope you bring us obviously the good fortune to get the 3 points as well tomorrow.
They're going to do a job. 100%.
Andy, top man, I really appreciate you coming over and having a chat with us.
Thank you very much. Listen, I appreciate it. This is a dreamy this, but I mean, I appreciate it all. Thank you.
You're a top man, and really appreciate it. And thank you very much for watching or listening to this episode of the official Celtic FC podcast with the IBF and IBO champion of the world, Anthony Cacace. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you very much, and hail hail.